Okay, Jaime Garcia. I live in Penn Valley. I have two children that are currently attending Welsh Valley Middle School. Um, if elected to the school board, the committees that I think I would be a best fit for, based on my experience, would be the Finance Committee because I spent 10 years working at a variety of asset management firms here in Philadelphia, and the curriculum committee because in my current role as a account executive, I'm very involved with setting strategy for clients as well as the execution of said strategies and creating metrics and benchmarks to evaluate progress along the way. I did not get these questions in advance, so I don't have a written response. So my answers are coming from my heart, and I'm very excited to be running for this position because I honestly I feel a call to serve. My background prior to financial services was in the military, where I did 10 years as an artillery officer, including one tour in Iraq. Thank you very much.
Mhm. And Jaime, you have 2 minutes or 120 seconds. Just the same.
Okay. Yeah, so let me make sure I'm answering the correct question here. It's how do we build trust as the board when talking about issues such as discrimination, anti-LGBTQ, and anti-Semitism, and make sure that the community feels they are being heard. Is that approximately what the question was?
Well, it's more that when you're close, but when parents come in front of the board or students come in front of the board with a complaint or an incident,
Okay.
they don't feel like they're being taken seriously enough.
Yeah, and so as a parent who has spoken at the board and shared feedback, my experience with an anti-Semitic incident that my son experienced earlier this year, I think it's a very personal thing, right? I felt in that moment that the board was empathetic and they heard me, but I also did that months after some of the more inflammatory incidents happened. I think the best thing that we can do is any administration can do is provide transparency, right, and accountability. So if parents are raising these issues, and if there is a mechanism to track, whether it's anti-Semitism, discrimination, anti-LGBTQ, we're tracking and sharing, right? Because when it happens to your child, it feels very personal and it's difficult not to get wrapped in the emotion. When you take a step back and see the data, maybe you see that it's not an endemic, maybe interpersonal, or the opposite. Maybe there is a problem that the administration is not addressing it appropriately. I think in our case, I think it did not make it past the school counselor, but we didn't have an issue with that personally because the way my son felt about what happened. However, that's not the case for every family. So if there is a mechanism to report and share and provide this transparency to the community, I think we have a responsibility to do so. I don't know of any privacy laws that would prevent us. Um, I don't know if it's a technology shortcoming, and if so, I don't believe that'd be too difficult to create a dashboard. But I do think that we should be tracking and sharing and being transparent with the community. We had a saying in the military: what gets measured gets managed. And so if you have the quantitative statistics and the qualitative stories to report and share, you should. And I think we're all doing it from a good place. So that's how I feel about that. This is such an important question and one that I think affects me deeply and personally as someone who, for whatever reason, could take a standardized test and do really well on them, but was horrible academically. I think there were times where, had it not been for the intervention of my parents, it could have been a different story for me, where just because I didn't get on as a teacher didn't appreciate where I was coming from. Um, and I was a kid. Um, I think that this achievement gap there's a lot of things that are at play. There's things that, to Juanita's point, that go back hundreds of years. And there's things that we don't have control over. But for me, where I would like to start is to understand what's been working, right? What has been the impact of the investment already made? How are we defining success, in the short, medium, and long term? And finally, what steps can we take to get there? I don't think this is a problem that gets solved in one term. We've had, equal rights in this country for less than 50 years, and we're already talking about getting rid of them. So this is something that requires constant attention, and I think we need to um, live up to our values of diversity, equity, inclusion, as stated in the Lower Merion School Board policy um, website, whatever. I was just say I love that this is a topic we're discussing. I love that it's a topic that is topical for the board and for the community. I think it speaks a lot to who we aspire to be, that we're spending time on this to discuss it. And so are we meeting the goal? I don't, can we do better? Yes, absolutely. I think that, people here have spoken much more eloquently than I will about this issue because, frankly, it's one that I'm not that informed about. And I'm happy to admit that this is a shortcoming of mine. Do I think that we should be looking at best practices and benchmarks and seeing where we are realistically and what steps we can take within our district to improve? I think that's exactly what we should be doing. I think that goes for all the topics that we've been discussing. I think that striving for excellence is a continuous process. I think that these conversations are how we get there, and I think that I am, for one, energized to see the engagement from the chat and from the panelists on this topic. So I'm happy to be sitting here and learning and really, I can't think of a better place to be.
Thank you. Jaime?
Yeah, I love this question, and it was something I was thinking about as I was preparing for this today. Is I don't feel like we hear enough from the students about their perspective and their experience at the school. And as a parent, obviously, I get the broad strokes, but having a formal channel like Rich recommended, I think, is probably the best way. And really getting these kids to feel empowered and feel like their voices are heard. And some of my most enjoyable conversations are with teenagers, ironically. And I think they have a lot of interesting perspectives, things that I haven't thought of because I'm not experiencing growing up in this technology world. So I love the idea of empowering them. I love the idea of incorporating them and making them feel heard.
Jaime.
Yeah, sorry. And the question is, why am I the best candidate?
Why are you a good candidate for the school board in this moment?
Wow. As I've heard everyone speak, maybe I think I'm a good candidate, but I would say in this moment, it's just one of those where it's someone who has been involved in watching, and I think that right now we need people who are interested and committed to bringing folks together. And this is not a criticism of the current board. I know that a lot of times in those meetings, things get heated very quickly. But you can just see even in the comments, people feel they're not being heard. And I don't believe that that's the case. I do think that the board is hearing. I hope to bring transparency and help rebuild or repair the bridge between the board and the community, right? And I think I'm a great person to do so because, one, I'm obviously multiracial. People often don't know what my background is. Live in a multi-religion household with three languages spoken at any different time. And I think that that's what we need is someone who is looking, or people who are looking to find the best in folks, and make sure that while we don't always have to agree, we're all working towards making this the best school district that we can with the resources we have. I'm excited to participate. I'm excited that I'm even on this forum, and I look forward to seeing how people's campaigns progress and how these issues as they've been raised today, how we address them going forward. I think we are, I'm proud to be a part of this community, and I hope to represent with the folks that are doing it and are so committed.